All right, so if you've ever been on social media of any kind, I don't need to introduce you to my guest, Gary Vaynerchuk, who is all over every single thing. You probably have 1 million followers on a platform that hasn't even been invented yet.
You're very nice.
No, it
Thanks
is. So it's very true. It is very true. So many things we could talk about, but here's what I was trying to think. What because you and I have done a number of interviews together on your shows, my shows.
Yes.
Here's one thing I don't think I've seen a lot of, because there's a lot about GaryVee out there. But the very first time I ever met Gary Vaynerchuk, I think it was 12 years ago, something like that. And what they told me is, our mutual friend that introduced me says, hey, I want you to meet this guy. He's like this wine guy on the internet.
Yes.
And I was like, all right, I don't know what,
like,
I haven't, why? But you were a big fantasy baseball player, you want to meet me, and I was just
Yep.
like, after we'd met for a half hour, I called my friend, I was like, I totally get it. But here's my question for you, because I think a lot of people out there don't realize where you started.
Yes.
They see you as the entrepreneur,
Yes.
as a media expert, but they don't realize you started as a wine guy on YouTube.
Yes.
Talk to me, Gary, about how you went from being a wine guy on YouTube to Gary Vaynerchuk in capital letters.
So I always paid attention to where attention was. Even when I did lemonade stands, I would pick the right tree or pole. And then when I did baseball card shows, I really did. How did people walk around a convention like this?
Yeah.
Where should I put my stuff? By the time I got into marketing and trying to sell wine for my dad's store, it was very obvious to me that the internet was growing and most people didn't see it. Email, Google AdWords, even having a website in 1996 for a one-store liquor store was crazy.
Right.
So YouTube comes out. 4 months after YouTube comes out, I'm like, this is going to be huge. I start a show. I'm like, I got to do a show.
Right.
But there was only 2 things I debated doing. Either a Jets show.
Okay, sure.
Literally,
you love your Jets, yeah.
Or a wine show, because they were the 2 things that I knew the most about and that I could talk about for a long time.
Right.
I do the wine show. I do it for 5 years. I do it 5 days a week for 5 years. I put out 1,000 episodes in 5 years. There's only 1,600 days in that window.
Yeah, sure.
So I did it all the time. But I knew that there was other things I wanted to talk about. And so really, to answer your question, I gave everyone context. The long-winded answer is, I just started talking about other things I knew. You are incredibly known for what you do.
Correct.
And you've been doing it for a very long time.
Also correct, yeah.
Gray hairs are
yeah,
the-
exactly, right.
Tomorrow, if you started making content on the internet about fishing,
Right.
if you actually knew what you were talking about, over a sustained period of time, people would also know you for that. I just started talking about business and things I saw coming. Why I'm in capital letters, that's very sweet of you, is a lot of those things ended up being right.
Yep.
So it's a merit game. If you're going to talk about things that are going to happen, they need to happen or people will stop listening to you.
Correct.
And so I earned it by talking about things that I knew. And I was a businessman when I was doing the wine thing. I just started talking about that part.
Well, I think there's a bunch of really important lessons in what you just said. In essence, you went to where attention is.
Yes.
All right. I'm not going to try to build an audience over here. I'm going to go where an audience is.
Yeah,
and just,
like to jump in, I'm not looking to write an article for a newspaper every week.
Right.
Whereas 20 years ago, that would have been huge. Today, that's not going to work. So you got to know where the attention is. Next.
Right. And you're like, I'm going to try to be authentic and passionate. You knew a lot about wine and you knew a lot about the Jets. You ended up choosing wine.
And also knowledgeable.
Yes.
Like, I could be very authentic. Like, I like this wine, I don't like this wine. But if I couldn't also tell you that Cabernet Franc from the Loire Valley is very underrated because Americans don't know what Cabernet Franc is, they know what Cabernet Sauvignon is.
Right.
Then I would just be authentic and passionate, but not knowledgeable.
Right.
And I thought, and I continue to think, knowledgeable matters too.
Yes. So expertise, passion, authentic at a place where there's attention. And then once you develop that fan base and like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about, when you decide you dip your toe into something else you know about and you're passionate about and authentic about, like business, that starts expanding.
Yes, but a lot of that fan base did not cross over. As a matter of fact, when I first started making business videos in 2009, 10, 11, 12, a lot of my audience was like, yo, I don't want this, like make wine videos.
Right.
So there's a lot of people right now that are making content and they're making about fitness and health, or they're making about sports, but they want to talk about legal things, or they want to talk about race cars, and they're scared because they're going to lose that audience. The answer is like, yeah, but you can earn a new one too. So a percentage of those wine people came over, but a small one, and then we built.
Yeah, and that's the challenge for me, honestly, is because people see me and they're like, who do I start? Who do I sit?
Roto.
Right, exactly.
And you're
so
like,
you're
but I
like,
have broader sports
right.
knowledge.
Yes, exactly. Broader sports knowledge. I love one of the reasons
I know.
I'm such a fan of you.
Yeah.
I love you as a person, but like why I consume a lot of your content is because I love your thoughts on entrepreneurship, raising money, and
to you,
yeah.
and I'm going to do it so everyone hears
please.
it. I think you should make an entrepreneurial video and post it on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn and see what happens.
Yeah.
And sure, will a lot of people say like, hey buddy, just tell me who to start at running back? Sure, but as long as you're strong internally and you don't think that hurts you emotionally, not professionally, then you just keep doing it until they stop saying it.
I want to, which I'm going to do, and I'm trying to get more active on LinkedIn as well. Here's a question for you, because you hear so many pitches. You are a real life Shark Tank. You are a legit real life Shark Tank. What's the one thing when somebody pitches you? What's the one thing you're looking for? Is it the business idea? Is it the executor? Is it all of it?
Let me use a sports analogy.
Yeah, please.
The horse and the jockey.
Okay.
I've lost in my career when I either love one. Well, actually, you know what's funny? The jockey, the person.
Right, you're right.
Because I've bet a lot of people who adjusted and changed their business models, and it was their ability to do that made it happen. So I look at the quarterback.
Yeah.
And then I look at the overall team. So I got to like the idea, but I lost a lot of money investing by loving an idea and not judging the person well enough that she or he wasn't able to navigate the inevitable difficult waters of entrepreneur. Being a successful entrepreneur is like being a successful professional athlete.
For sure.
But for some reason, the last 10 years, we decided like anyone can do it. And so we've had to calibrate it. It's hard.
Yes.
It's hard. And so I'm trying to figure out if the person's got it and do I like the idea.
All right, so we're at the Super Bowl, Gary, so we got to talk a little bit of football.
Let's.
You are a diehard Jets fan. I think the last time I saw you in person was at the Jets-Chief game, and you were like,
true,
right? And like you,
and
and,
I was
you and
salty.
AJ. Well, at the time, like we got a shot. We got a shot to win this game. Ended up not happening. Where are you with the Jets? Are you happy Saleh is back?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much. Look, you know better than anybody.
Right.
The New York media is rough.
They are.
When I think about what Saleh's been able to do on the defensive side of the ball, Quincy Williams, who's a free agent, John Franklin Myers, free agent, like even role players like Ashton Davis, Michael Carter in the 5th round. Bryce Huff's probably not going to be a Jet because he's going to get paid so much money. UDFA, one of the best pass rushers. They've done it. They've not been able to do it on the other side of the ball. Him and Joe Douglas and that organization has one mission this offseason. Offensive line, one more wide receiver, maybe even 2. They do that. Bryce Hall.
Brees is great.
Brees is insane.
Insane. He's my number 2 running back next year, just after McCaffrey.
He's insane.
Yeah.
So Brees is where he's at. I think Conklin is like a very serviceable tight end. They've got Ruckert coming up, who's going to be in his 3rd year from Ohio State. It's the receivers, and they are.
And Wilson's a stud. You got to find somebody to complement him.
GW5 now. He's changed his number from 17 to 5, which is my favorite number, so I'm happy. GW5 is a player. You know this. You know better than I do. They need a receiver or 2, but they have a lot of work to do on the offensive line. Looks like Tippmann, their 2nd-round pick last year, can play. Elijah Vera-Tucker is unbelievable, but he's got to stay healthy. He's now 2 years in a row out for the year. They've got 3 other spots to fill, and the 2 toughest spots, the tackles.
Yes.
So they got a lot of work. Now, they have a top 10 pick. It's a huge left tackle draft.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that. I'd like to see them go there. And I think they know, listen, if I know that's what they have to do, they definitely know what they have to do. So
100%.
I believe that Aaron can really be a major X factor if they can build that line and give him one more receiving option.
And I also think, by the way, and we saw this, no disrespect to Zach or anything else, backup quarterback, not just for the Jets, but for the NFL. Over 60 quarterbacks took a snap this year. I mean, and you just saw it. Many teams went through 3-4 quarterbacks over the course of a season. Finding somebody to back up Aaron, because hopefully he plays all year, but it's such a key position.
I think they will do that as well.
Yeah, I think they will. Now, it's interesting, that game, that Jets-Chiefs game, I feel like that was kind of the first big Taylor Swift,
of course, it was the
Travis
first one
she went to. She was in New York. She's in the box with Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively and the whole thing. Gary, you study media, all the stuff you do with VaynerMedia.
Yes.
Talk to me about this Taylor Swift effect. The line has been set on some offshore books at 5.5 shots of Taylor Swift during the Super Bowl. I took the over.
You're a smart man.
Right. Talk to me about, my 12-year-old daughters are like, Daddy, are the Chiefs going to win? I'm like, how do you know about the Chiefs? They're like, Taylor Swift. Like, they are now interested in the Chiefs.
Anyone who doesn't understand that building affinity and awareness to your favorite thing is good for your favorite thing is delusional. I get that people could be annoying and they're old school. I get being like a bro and razzing about it. This has been fundamentally remarkable for football.
It's been incredible.
There's going to be so many more families that are into football in 25 years because of this, because so many young girls are now about to become football fans. Yep. They'll become moms. It'll be really good. I think it's great for the sport. I'm happy about it. And I really have nothing else to say because it's so blatantly obvious. This has been good for the National Football League.
I mean, again, it's like just home. My two 12-year-old daughters who are both girly girls and never cared about football, but now they do. They know who Jason Kelce is. They know who Travis Kelce is. They watch some of the Chiefs games with me.
Pop culture. By the way, I would argue, back to my Jets fandom, that this is the single biggest pop culture moment for football since Broadway Joe Namath became an actual celebrity. Like him being on the cover of Sports Illustrated, the mink coats, him dating all those Hollywood starlets, that was unusual back then.
Yes.
Like there have not been that many massive pop culture moments.
Yeah.
And this one's been enormous.
It is. And by the way, I mean, just as a father of twin daughters that are 12 years old, she's an unbelievable role model for young women. The way she handles her business and conducts herself, she's unbelievable.
Anyone that razzes it is an insecure hater or doesn't actually mean it. They're just shooting it for fun.
So last one, Gary. We're at the Super Bowl. Who wins on Sunday? Who do you like? What do you got?
I like the 49ers, 27-24 in overtime.
Okay.
I'm going very specific.
Yes, very specific.
I think it's going to be very close, but I think the 49ers are going to win. I just think that there's too much energy to the Chiefs thing, and I think that's going to help the Niners. I think the Niners go into the game with a little bit more of a chip on their shoulder.
Sure.
And I think when it's an even game, which I feel this is very even, like really even.
Oh, yeah.
The key to the whole game is if the Niners can run the ball, I think they win the game, and I think they're going to be able to.
I would tell you to follow GaryVee on all forms of social media, but you probably already do.
Thank
pleasure,
you,
my friend.
Thank you. Good to see you. Love you back.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.